God bless you on this Thursday. Pray that you are being blessed. Pray you like, comment, and share this moment, Pastor Brown. I want to read from you Nehemiah chapter 6, verses 3 through 4. And it says, "And I sent messengers to them, saying, I am doing a great work, and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave and it come down to you? And they sent to me 4 times in this way, and I answered them in the same matter." Nehemiah has been dealing with enemies, Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem. They've come at him. They've tried to stop him. They've irked him. They've tried so many different things, but Nehemiah kept doing the work that he was called to do, kept doing the work that God had given him to do. And I think we have to learn from Nehemiah, and we should learn from Nehemiah, is that you should never stop doing what you're doing for God just because there are things that come upon you. But also you have to get to a place with your walk with God where you determine and you say to yourself, I refuse to stop. I refuse to give in. I refuse to allow myself to stop doing the work. Am I right? Sometimes we have to get to that place in life where we understand, realize, and begin to say, I'm not going to allow myself to stop. I'm not going to allow myself to give in. Not going to allow myself to throw into. I'm not going to allow myself to feel as though there is nothing to feel as though like there's nothing I can't do, or feel like, that I have to lower myself, or I have to, in a sense, come down to meet those who are not appreciating what I'm doing, and not just appreciating, but those who just don't like what I'm doing. Listen, some people will never like what God uses you to do. Some people will never like what God is blessing you to do. Some people will never like how God is equipping you. And you have to understand that when you're doing this great work, when you're doing what God has called you to do, when you're doing what God is telling you to do, you have to continue to trust him. But you also have to say, I'm doing a great work. I'm not going to come down. I'm going to keep on doing it. I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to keep on giving it my all. Can I ask you a question? Are you giving it your all? Are you giving it your all every day? Are you giving it all that you have every day? Are you determined every day? Are you trusting God every day? But also, have you gotten to a place in your walk, in your life with God, to where you have said, God, how you use me, I'm going to do it for your glory. I'm going to do it the way you call me to do it. I'm going to do it the way you want me to do it. And I'm not going to come down, and I'm not going to give up, and I'm not going to give in just because there are those who want me to stop. Don't ever stop your life and put your life on hold just because there are those who don't like the work. How many people can be honest and say there have been some times I've put my life on hold because I didn't listen to God. I put my life on hold because I wasn't trusting in God. I put my life on hold and on pause just because I encountered those who didn't like what I was doing. You're going to encounter some things. You're going to encounter some people. You're going to encounter how some people act, how some people treat you. But that's when you have to get to that place where you say, listen, I'm doing this great work. I'm not going to come down. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give up. How many people can say, I'm not going to give up? How many people can say, whether I do face some challenges, I may face a tough time. I may face some upheavals. I may face some foes. I may face some words. words. I may face some harshness. I may face some criticism, but I'm still not going to give up because there's too much that God has given me in order for me to keep going. And I've chosen and I've decided and I've determined I'm not going to give up just because I hit a snag or just because I hit a rough patch or just because I hit a rough road. You're going to hit a rough patch at times, but you can't give up or give in. Am I right about it? You can't give up and you can't give in. When you are with God, when you are doing the work, when you're doing the great work, and you got to understand and you got to say, what I'm doing is worth doing, even though it may seem like it's nothing to nobody else, it means something to me. You know, sometimes one of the problems we face is that we want people to feel the same way about things like we do. But some people will never feel the same way about some things like you do because they weren't meant to do it. It wasn't meant for them. It's not meant for them. You have to do what God has told you to do. And it ought to mean something to you. It ought to uplift you. It ought to inspire you. It ought to make you have joy. It ought to make you have peace. It ought to make you be ecstatic, be excited, and be enthused. Am I right about it? But when we are doing this great work, when we're following God, when we're trusting in God, be prepared for somebody to say something, for somebody to think something, for somebody to try to come at you, for somebody to try to say all this, all that. You got to be prepared for that. But when you are secure in God and in yourself, you don't have to give time or energy to small people. When you're secure within yourself, when you're secure in God and your relationship with God and the work that you're doing, you don't have to give in to small-minded people and people of low character and people who don't think the same way you think. There are some people who are always in the midst of trying to stop you. There are some people who are always in the midst of trying to make you feel bad, make you feel discouraged. But when you are with God and doing the work and doing the assignment and enjoying the assignment, you don't come down to people who are not on your same track and path. Somebody needs to know that everybody is not on your path. Everybody's not on the same trajectory that you are on, but you have got to keep doing the work that God is giving you to do. When God has planted something in you, when God has birthed something in you, why stop? Just because some people don't believe it, or just because some people don't want it to happen. But why would you stop? Why hurt yourself? Just because you may have hit somebody who doesn't like it. But we got to learn how to stop letting some things get to us so deeply that we basically let that control us. When you are with God, God is your leader, God is your guide, God is your savior, and God will uphold you. God will strengthen you. But you can't quit just because somebody says something, just because somebody, thinks something. It's true in the text. But I like Nehemiah. Nehemiah says, it's no need for me. Every time they've come at me, I'm not coming down to them. You ever dealt with some people who wanted you to stop? Or you ever dealt with some people who are always in your ear, always saying this, always thinking this, always trying to make you feel like you can't do it, or make you feel like it's over, make you feel like there's nothing more. But when you're doing the great work and when you're doing the assignment, you have got to say, you know what? You can think what you want. You can feel the way you want, but this is still going to get done. I'm still going to live. I'm still going to enjoy. I'm still going to go forward. I'm not going to give in. I'm not going to give up. You can't give up. You cannot give up. You cannot give in, and you shouldn't give in, and you shouldn't give up, because you're doing something that's important, that's powerful, and you're doing something that has meaning. Nothing God gives you to do is insignificant. Nothing God places in you to do is insignificant or that is unnecessary. But you have to have the mindset that says what God is placing in me, what God has given me, and what God is allowing me to do, it has significance, it has importance, and it's something that pushes me further. It pushes me higher. It pushes me to go deeper. But it has significance. It has value. It brings about value. It brings about importance. But how important is that to you? How important is it going to be to you? Because the importance of it pushes you and makes you go deeper. But it makes you also give it more of your time, talent, and energy. But it's got to mean something to you. It's got to be important. It's got to be significant. It has to push, it has to grow you. What is significant to you right now that God is giving you? Whatever God has given you, the gifts that God is giving you, the mind that God is giving you, the zeal that God is giving you, you got to nurture that. You have to cultivate that, and you have to continue to give it. You have to continue to go forward with it, irregardless of what people think or say. You got to keep going. You got to keep living. Because at the end of the day, you got to deal with you and look at yourself in the mirror. You got to do that. You got to look at yourself in the mirror. But you don't want to get to a place where you say, you know what, I should have did, I didn't. And I should have done this, but I didn't do it because of what others said or thought. You don't want to get to that place. You don't want to get to a place where any small thing can mess you up, mess up your day, mess up your vision, mess up your dreams, mess up your goals, mess up your desires, mess up your fire. It shouldn't be like that. But that's why you got to continue to trust God. You got to continue to walk with God. You got to continue to follow God. You got to tell yourself, I'm doing a great work. I'm not coming down from this. God gave this to me. God equipped me for this. God assigned me to this. I'm not giving in and giving up. Don't give up. It's a word for us. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't quit. Keep going. Keep trusting. Keep following God. Because you're doing a great work and you can't come down. God bless.